Interesting subject today. Just before I get into it, I got an email from the ACL, the Australian Christian Lobby. Okay, and this will explain a lot of why my sermon is what it's on. I'll read the part of the email. I wonder how long it'll be before the cancel culture, you've heard of the cancel culture, they just, okay, we're an activist that if they don't like anything you're saying, they will just hang it. Yeah, to the point where you just don't want to do it anymore. Before the cancel culture comes after you, or me, or the ACL, you know how it happens. Someone says something considered harmful by the woke elite. Well, okay, the woke movement is those that think they're enlightened. Okay, they're born again, but it's in their head. All right, they're born again in their head, not in their spirit. It's a counterfeit God. Okay, these acts, suddenly the person is publicly discredited and deplatformed in every way. They did that to how many people? They stopped certain people speaking on Facebook, on YouTube, on anything that is godly, anything with good truth, anything that means something important. I'll get rid of you. Okay, hundreds of new people are joining the movement, which is the ACL daily, and the movement is strong. Inspire Christians and churches to stand up for what is true. I'm encouraging you guys today. Don't take what people are dishing out to you. If you don't believe it, if you believe what God has said in your heart, you have to stand by faith for what you believe in. Because at the end of the day, it's just you and God, not you and whoever. Stand up for Christian churches for what's true and to stand against the enemy at work in politics and culture. All right? This is, you might wonder why my sermons are political, but that's where the devil works. That is the field he works in. And God reminded me of this, one of the quotes I have up on my wall. It says, the apathetic give way to the passionate. The complacent are subdued by the committed. This is how nations get taken over. I've spoken on this subject before. I will say it again. The apathetic give way to the passion. If you don't really, the people that believe in right or wrong, they're going to get out there and go, hey, come on, no. You know what I mean? And if it's something wrong, people are going to, tend to, all right. And the complacent are subdued by the committed. If you're committed in heart, in anything, it'll happen. It is like Andy said, faith, and Maria said, faith. They believe in their cause, they just don't know they're deluded. Oh, so true. It's so true. And then I will explain delusion. I will explain it. You will love this. You can see evil advancing in Australia. They're trying to restrict our religious freedom. They just legalise abortion to birth, deny freedom of speech, perpetuate lies about gender, usurp parental rights, marginalise Christians, and even criminalise prayer. Now, we need to mobilise and pray and take action. Now, the ACL, over 200,000 Christians in Australia, we share God's truth across Australia. Our social media reaches millions of people. Right, now, the ACL could be cancelled if there's enough pressure from the right people, which is really the wrong people. They'll just cancel anybody that has some sort of say from speaking up and mobilising Christians to take political action. Okay, so together we can build secure, versatile platforms to share resources, foster community, train volunteers, and quickly mobilise vast numbers of people to engage in political campaigns. They either need prayer or your support, one way or the other. But I pray you get into this, Mark, because if we don't, yeah, you know what's going to happen. All right.
We get a petition signed up.
Yeah. Whatever you've got to do, Michael, whatever. God will put it on your heart.
Sure.
You've got to listen. I search for truth quite often, and I don't like what some people say. God really puts in line, when when you look, and you look hard enough, you will find.
Yes, yes.
God had to put this video clip up there. You'll love it. It's called The Manufacturing of Mass Psychosis. Heavy duty. Okay, what's psychosis? An impaired relationship with reality. Symptoms of serious mental disorders, hallucinations, or delusion. All right? Now, you can look this up, the manufacturers of mass psychosis, and the question with it was, can sanity return to an insane world? Now, is the world insane today or what? Seriously, it has never been like it is before today. This would have come from a website called academyofideas.com, if you ever want to look it up. I will get organised one day, not sure what day.
You are organised.
All right, here we go. All right. Now this is all about, we'll hear what it is. The masses have never thirsted, so I'm reading a lot of their quotes, okay? The masses have never thirsted after truth. They turn aside from evidence that is not to their taste. Does this sound like the world today? Especially godless people, preferring to deify error if error seduces them. Whoever can supply them with illusions is easily their master. Whoever attempts to destroy their illusion is always their victim. Just as disease of the body can spread in epidemic proportions, so can the diseases of the mind. Let's look at Romans 1:18. For the wrath of God is revealed from heaven against all ungodliness and unrighteousness of men, who by their unrighteousness suppress the truth. For what can be known about God's plan? Because God has shown it to him. For his invisible attributes, namely his eternal power and divine nature, have been clearly perceived, even since the creation of the world and the things that have been made. Look out there, this hasn't come apart. There's no big bang and then all of a sudden it grows out to, they've been preaching evolution forever.
Yeah, right.
Come on, that's the first bit of brainwash you get as a kid.
Exactly. Yeah.
So they were without excuse. For although they knew God, they did not honour him as God to give thanks to him, but they became futile in their thinking. That's the point I'm making today. And their foolish hearts were dark, claiming to be wise. How many people out there think they've got it all together? They became fools and exchanged the glory of the immortal God for images resembling mortal man, birds and animals and creatures. Verse 24. Therefore God gave them up over to their lusts, to impurity, to dishonouring their bodies amongst themselves, because that's what they wanted. Because they exchanged the truth about God for a lie, and worshipped and served the creature rather than the Creator, who is blessed forever. Amen. Verse 26. For this reason God gave them up to dishonourable passions. For their women exchanged natural relationships to those to a contrary of nature, and men likewise gave up natural relationships with women, and were consumed with passions for one another, men committing shameless acts with women and receiving, with men and receiving themselves a due penalty for their error. 28. And since they did not see fit to acknowledge God, God gave them over to the debased minds to do what ought not to be done. You see, God doesn't force us to do anything at all. He is such a generous God. You know, they were filled with all manner of unrighteousness, evil, covetousness, malice. They were full of envy, murder, strife, deceit, maliciousness, gossip, slander, haters of God, insolent, haughty, boastful, inventors of evil. Or I don't like inventors of evil. They can't find anything to do. They find something bad, worse to do. Disobedient to parents, foolish, faithless, heartless, ruthless. They know God's righteous decree for those who practice such things deserve to die. They not only do them, but they give approval to those who practice them. Wow. The world today, even now, is looking for answers. Their answers today is they need someone to help them. They're looking at the world for answers, not at God. This will, if allowed, eventually, right? If you look at the way, you will see with what I'm talking. This will eventually lead to something called totalitarianism. All right, you can guess by the word what it's saying, and I'll give you the dictionary result. Totalitarianism, a system of government that is centralized and dictatorial and requires complete subservience to the state. Or, at one stage, it's going to be, what is it, the devil's, the Antichrist, whatever you want to call him. It is a system, I know, but I'm just saying, they want to look to a person, eventually. Democratic countries, we fight totalitarianism. Totalitarian rulers are those that are in charge. If you don't do what I say, well, I'll probably kill you. All right. Now, with this sort of control, you have the obliteration of individual rights. You will not have any rights anymore. There will be two classes, the rulers and the ruled. The rulers become God, easily corrupted by power. And this is the thing about power. Corrupts all of us, really. And the more power you have, unless you're giving it to God and doing God's will, the more down a rabbit hole you go. The ruled then regress to almost a childlike state. They are turning sound minds into sick minds through delusions and hand over their lives to politicians, bureaucrats, wayward leaders who think that they have the answer, not God. People can't, I was saying to somebody this morning that the world is, and these are Christians that have been deluded too, by the way. None of us are exempt. I'm just thinking, they don't want you to think for yourself. They don't want you to look to God for answers. They want you to think what they want you to think. Now, only under the spell of delusions would anyone believe that a society of power-hungry rulers and a psychologically regressed population will lead to anything but mass suffering and mass social ruin. I think we don't think. I don't think many of us do. Some think too much, and there's problems there. We know people like it. I think, as you know, as Christians, it's just be in touch with your Maker. Obedience, and I'll explain at the end why obedience is so important, because at the end of the day, you're going to be obedient to something or someone. All right, this new word I learned is called menticide. All right, we're getting technical today. It is an old crime against the human mind and the spirit, but systemized and systemized anew. It is an organised system of psychological intervention and judicial perversion through which the ruling class can imprint on others their opportunity and thoughts about the minds on those people that they want to use and destroy. Now, what does John 10:10 say? It says, the thief comes only to steal and kill and destroy. And that Jesus came to give life and life more abundantly. It is this life that keeps us going. It is this life that's so important that you need to hang on to. Because the life they're offering will be no freedom at all. They will become your God. You're like Andy, you're like this bit. Smartphones, social media, television, and the media all censor a flow of unwanted information, allowing those in power to easily assault the mind of the masses. Modern tech. Let's have a look here. Here we go. Modern technology reaches man to take for granted the world the modern technology teaches man to take for granted the world he is looking at. He takes no time to retreat or reflect. Technology lures him on, dropping him into its wheels and movements. No rest, no meditation, no reflection, no conversation. The senses are continually overloaded with stimuli. Man doesn't learn to question his world anymore. The screen offers him answers ready-made. See, this is the world today. The world system, like Andy once said, is bowing down to the God of this world. I mean, we need to use this, but not be used by it. Now, when you isolate and disrupt social interaction, this is what this lockdown has been doing. Individuals are more susceptible to delusion when isolated from positive examples. Now, this is where our job as Christians is crucial. We have been born again, spirit and in truth, not in mind with intelligence. There's a difference. And we need to explain to people what the difference is. Because that life, without that being born again, you don't go to the kingdom of heaven. That's sad. And this is why church is important. Our fellowship, we learn from one another. You know, it's just crucial. And that's what I think the world is trying to, or the powers will be, are trying to slow down. When are you going to let us worship God? And we've never stopped. And we'll keep doing it.
Hallelujah.
I don't care what they do. All right. You know, they condition animals through isolation and continual repetitive stimuli. That's how they program rats and all that. Alone, confused and battered by waves of terror, makes the masses vulnerable. You know what they do? They lock you up, and then they say, "Oh no, you can come out for a while now." You know, like, "Oh no, you can go back in." This is no. It's a continual off and on, and that's what wears you down if you're not strong and walking with God. Continuous propaganda brainwashes the minds, who they crave for a more ordered world, you see. They want other people to help us, please. And they're looking to the elite, to those that have already brainwashed them for that purpose. So those who want control offer them the way. But the price is what? Your freedom. And for some, your soul. And then you become controlled, submissive, and obedient subjects. Okay, totalitarianism is man's escape from the fearful realities of life into the virtual womb of leaders. The individual's actions are directed from this womb, from the inner sanctum. Man needs no longer assume responsibility for his own life. The order and logic of prenatal world reigns. There is peace, silence, and peace, and utter submission. Who do you want to be submitted to?
No,
Amen, brothers and sisters.
Yes.
We don't want to be submitted to this world.
No.
We hate what the world stands for.
That's right. Lord.
Do not compromise. Oh, sorry. I'll the scripture out. But do not compromise your principles.
Yeah. That's right.
Matthew 6:24. No one can serve two masters.
Right.
You either will hate one and love the other, or you'll be devoted to one and despise the other. See, we're in the world, but not of it.
Yeah.
And we need to remain that way. Not for our sake, for the sake of the world. Hard job ahead of us, folks, but with God's help, it'll happen.